What's up, listeners and supporters of the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast? We need some help from you, and it won't take up too much of your time. As we grow, we always want to hear your feedback, so take a minute or two to fill out a short anonymous survey. The survey link is right in the episode notes for this podcast. It's easy and takes less than 5 minutes. As always, we thank you for your continued support. Episode 77 of the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. Dexter, Henry, Brian Fonseca here. How you doing, good sir?
I am tired.
Tired is,
but not like
good, I guess.
Not fatigued. Just like,
not
like
drained.
Yeah, like I want to get sleep. Hopefully you don't want to get sleep listening to this podcast.
What's crazy? What's crazy is I'm like the opposite of you. I was like really tired, and the last couple of days I've actually gotten some good rest.
Oh, I'm gonna catch up.
I feel back to.
I'm gonna catch up.
Being recharged. I feel better.
I'm gonna catch up.
So you got to catch up.
Yeah.
You gotta take care.
I'm sure we all feel better than Amir Khan these days.
I think so. And I did not even watch that fight.
Yeah. I told you about it. I was there. Obviously, I guess we'll start there. Terence Crawford knocked down Amir Khan in the first round and then stopped him in the sixth with a low blow where he kind of just went for an uppercut. His head was low because Amir Khan was pushing his head down a little bit. It looked like, I don't know if he did it in that particular punch, but he was doing that at some point during the fight. Then he punched him in the leg, and then Amir Khan was like, holding his dick. And then, so he ended up quitting. At one point, he said that, he's not a quitter, and he didn't want to take all 5 minutes, and then he heard that he didn't know that he had 5 minutes. It was just confusing. Like, I don't know. Amir Khan sending out mixed messages.
You know what that sounds like? A waste of time.
Well, Terence Crawford.
That's exactly what that sounds like.
Look, there was one round that Terence Crawford lost that Amir Khan looked really good, but my thing with Amir Khan is listen, all you fighters out there, if you're getting rocked the way Amir Khan is, you need to stop fighting, because he's
not going to stop though.
When he gets punched, it's concerning. When he gets punched, I just don't want dude to be a vegetable when he's 48. You know what I'm saying?
He's not going to stop.
Like when he gets punched, like you see him move, and for listeners, you're not going to like hear this particular, but he'll move like this, like just his head going up and down, jittering. It's like startling. It's like yo, no.
So you think he needs to hang it up?
No more. Yeah, you have to just look at the ways he's been knocked out. Like for a few people, like whatever, like I guess you can take a punch, whatever. Yeah. But for him, it's like the ways he's been knocked out has been in dramatic fashion. With Breida Prescott, with Danny Garcia, this Terence Crawford one now with Canelo. Oh my God! I forgot.
Oh man! Oh,
yeah,
wow.
The Canelo one, a fight that he was actually winning, by the way. But yeah,
what's funny? You made me think about knockouts. I meant to text you the other day because. Remember, I didn't get to watch the Lomachenko fight, this last fight.
against Anthony Crolla.
And then
Did you watch the knockout?
I did. I saw it, and I was sitting in a bar having some lunch, and I saw it, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
damn,
right side of the temple,
yeah,
right hook. Right to the head, and Crolla, he dropped down face first.
Face first.
When you fall face first,
not good.
Yeah, you don't get up.
You went right to sleep.
Yeah.
I did not care about this Crawford-Khan fight. I didn't care. I had no interest in.
That's interesting to me.
I didn't. Okay. I just didn't. I didn't think it was a worthy opponent for Terence Crawford, so I didn't care.
I guess
I just was not excited about it at all whatsoever. It was not going to get me to pay any money, although the undercard was not bad. From what I saw, and
Teofimo Lopez is a star, and Shakur Stevenson is a star. Both of them are very early in their careers.
And I would have liked to have watched more of them. I probably would have cared more about seeing that.
You can still. It'll be on ESPN Plus at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll go back and check that.
Yeah,
the main event, I just did not.
Yeah.
Have any excitement for.
Felix Verdejo, unfortunately, he won a decision against a decent opponent, but he didn't look spectacular, and I feel like this pretty much is what he is now. He's 25 years old. He's going to be 26 in May. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is kind of it. Like,
yeah, you kind of know at that point.
He may win a world title if he gets the right champion, but he's not really. He at one point he looked like he had it. He looked like he was going to legitimately be a star. Like he total package and everything. And then at some point his performances got less spectacular. Injuries, some other things reported out there, like a motorcycle accident or
I remember that.
Loss of focus and things like, the stuff that has sort of popped up And, now we're here.
I think I'm becoming, I won't say less interested in boxing. There's just less fights that really excite me.
And that is why MMA is better right now.
And I'm still just can't get down with the MMA, and I just don't care either. But
you got to come to the dark side.
Nah, I don't know if I'm coming to the dark side.
Matt, tell him.
I don't know if I'm coming to the dark side.
Matt's also an MMA fan.
I'll produce him after this. I just can't. I don't know, man. Like I told you, there's something I just can't.
I know a lot of boxing purists think it's barbaric.
I do. I think that's the word.
It's just. I don't want to get into this whole thing again, but it's like
violence.
But no, but it's like there's a whole bunch of things. Like I could whip somebody's ass who's twice my size if I know how to do.
Yeah,
just
proper technique.
Listen, if I could wrestle, if I could do judo.
Here's the thing. Also, let me just say this too. I have a ton of respect for
boxing is repetitive.
The UFC and the MMA fighters, because I've watched some of them. I used to go to a gym where I watched some of these people train, and in the gym I currently work out in, there's some guys who train in there. Yeah. So I have a lot of respect for the technique and what's done. This is not me poo-pooing it, saying that they're not, I don't look. I got more. Look, I don't care for wrestling. I got a way more respect for UFC and MMA than I do for wrestling.
You need to watch your mouth.
You know for wrestling. Like, you wrestling guys, nah. No. Like, what do you want me to watch? WrestleMania or UFC, whatever else is coming out? Oh, I'm definitely going to UFC. Absolutely.
Okay.
And I don't really care for both.
You're entitled to your opinion.
But you're like, oh, God, wrestling. So it is what it is.
I watch both. I have one on the laptop screen, one on the TV.
Of course you do. Because, again, for people who listen to this podcast, you like
competition,
violence. No, it's nothing to do with competition. You like violence. This is the same person who wants to slap people they see in the street.
That's not true. We're putting false things out there. I have a lot at stake right now. All right.
That is at a time you let me rephrase that. At a time you thought about if you could slap somebody.
I was 19 years old playing GTA, and I was just wondering. You know what I'm saying? Just wondering.
A lot of problems there. Why maybe you should.
Here's the thing, though. Here's why I'm good. I'm
game.
good and I'm sane compared to other people because I just thought about it. There are other people that actually do this in real life.
I mean, probably.
No, not probably. We've seen reports.
I mean, but
go to Florida.
It started with a thought.
Florida man.
It started with a thought.
GTA birthed Florida man.
Yeah, it did.
I actually don't know if that's true.
I'm not sure if that's true.
but
I think other things birthed Florida man.
Right.
I don't think GTA.
But
GTA didn't help. I'll say that much.
They can be aligned in some way.
They can.
Yeah.
And
it's just, GTA 4 is New York man and GTA 5 is California man.
Yeah, you could be New York man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why can't that be? This is the genesis of it.
Is that the name of the episode, New York man?
Nah, it's not going to be. It's not. We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
What would be some of the New York man headlines?
New York man beats other man with Tim's. I don't know. It's got to be something New York centric.
Something with a pigeon, I'm thinking of.
Pigeon? Yeah. New York man takes pigeon shit, smears it over subway rider's face. Yeah, that could be it. I could see that. I could see that going.
New York man.
Here's the thing. The thing about Florida.
I'm gonna buckle down and write out a bunch of New York man scenarios.
We should. Maybe we have to do a New York man episode. But here's the thing about Florida man, right? If you ever see, and it's funny, I remember, I want to take credit from who said this, but our colleague friend Brian Lewis, writer for New York Post for the Nets, he once posted on Facebook a Florida man headline, and he wrote, and I'm paraquoting him, but he said, all I need to see are the words Florida man in the headline. And he's like, everything after doesn't even matter because I'm going to click on that headline.
I think I like the status.
And I was like, yo.
I remember that.
I was like, yo, he's right. It doesn't matter. I see Florida man. I'm clicking.
Yeah.
I'm clicking.
I could, but you know what the thing is? I could search Florida man every day and I'll find some stuff. Like, I'm going to tell people like, yo, if you're ever down, if you're ever upset, just go Google Florida man.
It'll make you feel a lot better.
You'll make you feel a lot
better. Unless you're from Florida.
then you'll have some trepidation.
Yeah,
you have a level of fear, especially if you're in places like, Tallahassee.
Yeah.
Because that's where a lot of that stuff kind of comes from.
Tallahassee. And didn't spend any time there, but flew into there late last year. Interesting.
So the Illmatic anniversary just passed.
It did. It did. I'm rocking my Nas Illmatic shirt today.
Yeah, I forgot.
You did not come to represent.
I wore
song from Illmatic. Yeah.
Nice
You caught that.
Nice
yeah.
Good,
yeah.
I wore the day of, so this was the day after the anniversary, because the day of the anniversary I was mostly doing work inside and I was like not outside. I was at the Nets game, and then the fight we just mentioned, Crawford Khan, I had the Illmatic socks on. The ones that I showed you from Stance.
So you did represent
yes,
once.
On 420 instead of 419, but still, I was there with the socks on all day. They were playing a lot of Nas at MSG that night too.
Nice.
They played representing Nabate, friend of the show, Nabate House. He got hyped.
That's good.
He said I think he said represent's second verse is his favorite verse on Illmatic, which is interesting.
Oh.
See, that's the thing too. And talking about this album, I threw into the group chat, the infamous group chat that we've referenced on this podcast more than once. What is your favorite verse from Illmatic? Or what do you think is the best verse, and what do you think is your favorite verse? We all had different answers.
The best verse by Nas, because AZ's "Life's a Bitch" can absolutely get anybody.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
Oh, Nas's verse on that is really good, but AZ's verse is.
To me, the best verse on that album, might be "New York State of Mind" first verse. But the interesting thing to me was that we all had different answers. That's how good that album was. There was a Represent there. There was One Love third verse. There was
that's a great verse.
There was Memory Lane I brought up.
Memory Lane first verse. That's one of my favorites.
Ain't Hard to Tell first verse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And last verse.
And last verse, yeah. Yep. New York State of Mind first verse, definitely.
You can somebody could go anywhere and I could not.
The World Is Yours.
The World Is Yours, which is my favorite song.
Yes.
Off the album. But
mine is New York State of Mind. I would say. Yeah.
Well, like here's what's interesting to have this conversation with you around it, because for me because
I received it differently.
At a different time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You weren't like I was there. You were born.
I was born,
but you weren't
when I really received the
album.
album.
You couldn't listen to it.
Yeah, when I really received it, I was a kid. And then I just sort of grew up with it, but I didn't grow up with it in the same way like my brother did, who was a teenager when it came out. You know what I mean?
And for me, I was 11 when that album came out.
Right, exactly.
And I think we've spoken about this before on the podcast. But
wait, your parents let you listen to that?
My parents didn't know.
Oh, okay. Like, damn.
Like they heard, Ain't Hard to Tell, or they heard The World Is Yours when
they
on the radio.
They definitely didn't hear Represent.
No,
they definitely.
So my cousin.
Yeah,
he's right, because he's a little older than me. He's like 4 years older than me. He had all the hip hop albums, and he used to have 36 Chambers. I remember his boys in high school would come over and they'd be playing it, and I remember my uncle would come down in the basement and hear the curses, be like, "Turn that off! Like you can't."
So it was like they do in the movies.
Yeah. So yeah, So
TV show.
My mom didn't know I had Illmatic. So the first thing I heard Illmatic, and I loved "Ain't Hard to Tell," the song.
Yeah.
And then my cousin played me the album, and I was just like, "This is crazy." Like, to me at that time was the illest thing I ever heard. And I made him
still might be.
This shows my age. This was back when somebody had an album, because my cousin had it on cassette.
Okay.
And he made a copy for me. So I had it on a blank
copy
cassette.
of a cassette.
Yeah, you put, so you had two players. Kids, this is going to show my age for the kids out there who don't know. You had a deck in which you had two cassette players in there. One was to record. You could also play in that too, and one was played. So you had to literally play the album, and you hit the record on the other cassette, and then that's how you do it.
I remember having cassette tapes around the house when I was really young.
And if you really had a nice one and it was dope, you didn't have to flip it over when it was done. It could auto record on the other side for you. So my cousin had one of those decks, and I was able to just record the album straight through.
We kind of moved from that way too fast. Like, just in general, because where technology is now. But I don't want to get into that whole discussion. It just alarms me. It just alarms me how fast things move.
It is. You never had that experience. You literally never had to do that.
Right.
You never had to do that.
Right. I've seen it done.
But for other people, it was like,
from my parents.
Like back then, if you couldn't, if you were especially, I was 11, I didn't have money like that.
I don't even remember Walkmans.
That's the first rap album I bought, but I remember before I could buy it and I had some money to buy it, I had my cousin's, dub tape is what I had. The copy of that onto a blank cassette tape, and I was going around bumping that in my Walkman consistently. That was all I listened to. Now, I never played it at home, because if my mom heard me playing some of the stuff that was on Illmatic, she would have probably threw my deck or my little Iowa radio that I had in my room out the window. So that wouldn't have been good.
I can't The album is so good, man.
The album's so good.
It's like what Robin Lundberg said on our second episode of this podcast. So this was a while ago.
Yes,
but he said, and although he acknowledged that Jay-Z is obviously his favorite, he said that if you have the trivia question to what's the greatest rap album of all time, Illmatic is probably going to be the answer.
It is for me.
Yeah.
Nothing has touched it.
It's the best album.
It is for me. There's things that are also I feel like are great, but I just think that is
There's things that are probably on that level.
It birthed everything after it. It was the perfect continuation of people like the Rakims and the Kool G Raps before and the Big Daddy Kanes, and Nas just took. I never heard anybody so poetically tell stories. That I was just like, this is, and the production is just great. I know some people will argue that it's dated, but I think the impact of it is good.
I don't think so. For me, it was so ahead of its time, and it still holds up.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because this 25th anniversary made me realize that there's a book I never finished. Michael Eric Dyson has this book called Born to Use Mics that I actually have, and I was looking before we came to record this podcast. I was looking for it because I was like, I was reading it maybe a couple months before my daughter was born, and what it does is a chapter by chapter breakdown of all the songs.
Yeah.
If you know anything about Michael Eric Dyson, he's a huge Nas Illmatic fan.
Yes, I know that.
Also, a super intellectual look at it and the storytelling that Nas is doing in it. So I haven't finished the book. I plan to finish it at some point within the next month because I need to get back into reading it. But I think I was just up to Life's a Bitch. So I was like 3 tracks in. So Life's a Bitch is the track that I'm actually dissecting right now. But it's fantastic. I'll give you that book when I'm done. Like,
Word. I don't know if people do that for albums now. You know what I mean? Like, although no, I think we could see a Kendrick album having that sort of.
Well, I mean that podcast Dissect that's out, which is actually
you told
podcast. They did a
you
breakdown of Good
this.
Kid, Mad City.
You told me about this a long time ago,
which was fantastic.
Yeah,
it was really good. It was fantastic, and they've done some other albums since. They did which I think is an overrated album, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Oh yeah,
and then
Gerard.
And they did one of my other favorite albums of all time, Miseducation Lauryn Hill, which is the one they did this season, but I haven't listened to that.
I was listening to that the other day.
Yeah, so
that album.
So like that's dope. But look, Illmatic, the impact of this album, undeniable. I still probably listen to it once a month. I always listen to the album at least once a month. Love it. What did you come up? What did you say your favorite song is? What off the album?
Favorite song? I think New York State of Mind.
New York State of Mind.
I think New York State of Mind.
And your verse? Did you come up with a verse?
My favorite verse is AZ's verse on Life's a Bitch.
I see it. I think that's fair. I can understand that.
But that's because I don't know. That one just stuck with me the most when I first heard it. You know what I mean? Like
he kills it.
Yeah.
He kills it,
but I think the best verse is, we didn't even mention Halftime and One Time for Your Mind. I think the best verse is probably, it's so hard, man. Like you can literally go 10 different ways.
I think if I had to pick a verse, I gotta go.
Like if you had gun to your head, knife to your throat.
And if I'm taking a Nas verse, I might have to take Memory Lane verse 1
for best.
Yeah,
I might take. I'm taking New York State of Mind first verse or One Love third verse.
I'm fine.
One Love third verse.
It's great.
God damn.
Yeah, great. I mean, the album's full of great verses. Like it's just,
and it still holds up. And I mean, like we were talking also about how a lot of people think it was written. Not a lot of people think, but there are a section of people. Hold on, let me finish. There's a section of people that think it was written is better, and I'm just like, man. As much as I do like it was written, nah, bro.
It's not.
Nah.
I think those people are bugging.
That dude's catalog is so strong that I don't even have It Was Written, which is a very good album in his top 5.
And I would agree.
Yeah.
Not mine either.
It's probably 6, but
I would agree. I think it's such
Nabate kind of agreed with that too, because we were talking about that too. Because we both think Nas's catalog, you know what I'm saying? So him, and we were like, Illmatic is up there, and he likes Hip Hop Is Dead a lot, which I found interesting.
I do.
So
it's okay.
When we have him back up here, we could talk about that.
We'll have to talk about
Lost Tapes, Life Is Good, Illmatic, you know what I mean?
Godson.
Yep. I didn't mention Godson. I forgot about it that day. But Godson, other than Zone Out, that album.
I think those albums are better than It Was Written. And I agree with that.
Well, we ain't got to do this.
We don't have to go. But anyway, Illmatic is great. I can't believe it's been 25 years. I remember listening to that. I remember bumping that. It still feels like 94 is yesterday. And I remember that summer it was out because people were bumping that everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere,
Which is
man.
crazy because even in retrospect, like, the impact was so large, obviously, and, you're saying this from a New York perspective, but it didn't even do that well relative to the times in terms of charting. Because you remember the Nas documentaries on VH1 and stuff talked about how that album initially was a failure, even though it was really good and they put a lot of money into it, and then he got with all these producers who were just, like, breaking into their primes as well. And then after a while, you saw it go gold and platinum because he started, like, being successful in other areas.
Yeah. I think it was just the album, when you look at it, it's very raw. There's really even for that time, no really commercial single other than the lead single, which is Ain't Hard to Tell.
Yeah.
And has the Human Nature Michael Jackson sample, which was flipped extremely well.
Yeah.
Outside of that, there's really tell me a song on there you're like, oh man, it's going to be on the radio. I mean, now The World Is Yours did very well in terms of New York. Like, I remember hearing that on Hot 97 all the time.
I think Halftime might have charted the highest.
Yeah, technically that is the first single because that was released
that was on
way
Zebrahead,
right
2 years
before the album dropped.
Yeah.
So technically that was kind of people's, not their first introduction to Nas, because most people heard him on Live at the Barbecue.
Woo! You want to talk about a verse?
Yeah, that's yes. And everybody was like, "Who's this guy?"
That verse still holds up to me.
Yeah. So
and so does the other one. Back at the grill again.
Yeah. I feel like outside of New York, maybe it didn't have the impact because I think people got onto it a little bit later as things happened. The way it was,
especially back then. Back then was different.
Yeah, hip hop was so much more regional. So like,
yeah,
I think people outside,
which I kind of miss.
I think sometimes when you hear stuff from rappers outside of New York now, who maybe are in that same age range as the Nas, talk about it, they're like, oh, well, I got onto it and I thought this was like really dope and great, and so there were people listening to it. So it's just had a different impact. But I think for like New Yorkers, one thing I'll say, my boy Anthony Slater, he always says this. He says Illmatic's the perfect album. If you took it, put it in a time capsule, put it in the ground, had somebody dig it up 100 years later, it would perfectly encapsulate what New York felt like at that time for people in black and brown neighborhoods. And that is so true. I just think the sound, the storytelling around it, the things that were going on, it's a perfect like history into an album of like what it was at that time for his tales in the Queensbridge projects, right? Like, it's just perfect the way it's just encaptured, and I think that's the greatness of the album.
And the dangerous thing about it is that, a lot of people like to hold up artists to their first project, especially if that was their best one.
Yeah.
So I feel like in going back to his catalog, a lot of people don't think his catalog is that strong because he hasn't topped that, which is unfair, obviously, to him. It's unfair to other artists, too. Like, they're held to their first work also. I'm trying to think of some names off the top of my head. I would have said Biggie, but that's debatable. I mean, you like Life After Death.
I think Life
more.
After Death's a better album.
And then after that, it's like he only had 2 albums, so you can't really do it with Biggie. But there are some other dudes who are like that. Raekwon, actually.
I think
Raekwon, probably Method Man, I guess.
I think you have to make something again. I think what happens in hip hop sometimes is if you don't make something again that's like really great. Like, I think people forget this with Jay, but I feel like it was happening to him before he made the Blueprint. Like, I think for everybody's like, oh,
kind of like when Nas is Stillmatic.
Yeah, and I felt like that was that for Nas.
Which
like,
came out the same year.
I think once you do that, then I think it kind of erases that for you. Now, when you do something where you put out 2 great things in a row, like Kendrick did, I think it also gives you a little bit more of a buffer. But
a lot of people would say Nas came out with 2 great things in a row.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The thing that was the dip was 1999. Where he rushed those out. Well, that whole
album, right?
Yeah, it was really Nostradamus. Not so much I Am.
Yo, it was Nostradamus is awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't do that. It doesn't matter. Nostradamus is awful. Illmatic is great. That's all that matters. Yeah. It's a great album. I think it's the greatest rap album all the time. Glad to see people talking about it and it getting its respect. Backpack Broadcasting continues to bring you the best original sports content, but now you can get more of the content you love. For as little as $3 a month, you can get access to bonus content, including behind-the-scenes footage and interviews from the Sports Walk, Sideline Stories, or the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. All this exclusive content comes via Patreon. There are tiered levels of patronage, and each Backpack Broadcasting patron receives exclusive perks. Your support helps Backpack Broadcasting create more of the original content that you love. Visit Backpack Broadcasting's Patreon page and become Patreon today. Now, going from things that we love to things where people are absolutely hating on. Did you see the recent stuff that's come up in Major League Baseball?
Featuring our boy, Tim Anderson.
Let me tell you something. I have a new favorite player in baseball, and his name is Tim Anderson. No. Tim Anderson, I am, look, man, I like how you're playing. I like your swagger. I like you not giving a damn about what these other people are saying in baseball. And I want to credit Brian, because Brian, a couple years ago,
what did I do?
Was on the second episode of the Sports Walk. And Brian talks about at the end of the episode, if you have not seen it, I suggest you go and look at the episode. It's a very good episode. Brian talks about his thoughts on baseball and baseball's unwritten rules. And his very great statements on that I don't want to ruin for anybody, but pretty much they
aged well. I'm proud of that.
It did. Well, no, it was a relevant topic then, and it sadly still is now. But you were calling out the people who were mad at people who bat flip or show emotion, and all these other things. And for those people that don't know in the situation, Tim Anderson hit a home run.
Yes.
Off of what's the guy's name? What's the other guy's name he hit the home run off of?
I don't remember, but I did find out that Tim Anderson is, interestingly enough, from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Deontay Wilder country.
That's right. He hit a home run off of. I'm trying to get the guy's name.
Tim Anderson also. So I'm gonna throw some numbers at you. He's actually batting .422 this season.
He's killing
so
right
far.
now.
Yes. So if he's your favorite player, you're at least in pretty good shape.
Brad Keller from the Royals. Pitcher Brad Keller from the Royals.
Okay.
Tim Anderson hit a home run.
Let's look up some stuff about our boy Brad.
Jacked it, and then had one of my favorite bat flips I've ever seen. It's close.
It wasn't a bat flip.
It wasn't a bat flip.
It was a bat throw.
It was kind of like remember the Jose Bautista one?
Yeah.
Where he just threw it to, which I absolutely loved. He just like looked in disgust and was like, "Get out of here."
Yeah.
He threw the bat towards the dugout. And let me also say, baseball has been making this campaign, which I've applauded baseball for doing, about let the kids play and let them have emotion. You've liked this campaign too. The White Sox seem to be embracing this in the terms that they have a White Sox home run chain, that after people hit a home run, you rock it in the dugout.
Started by the Miami University, the turnover chain. I like it.
And I like it. It's something different. I like it. Anyway, Tim Anderson hits a home run. If you watch baseball enough, you probably know what happened the next time he came at bat. Next time he comes up at bat, he hit the home run off of Brad Keller. Brad Keller drills him, although he claims the pitch got away from him.
Oh, my God.
I'm rolling my eyes.
Just own it, man. Just own it.
Right. And that's the thing. You don't tell me the pitch got away. Tim Anderson had something to say, and they got into a little bit of a brawl.
Yeah.
And then he got suspended. However, Tim Anderson didn't get suspended for being the brawl. He got suspended for using the N-word towards Brad Keller, who actually is white.
It happens. You know what I'm saying?
Which was like, so everybody's like, yeah, it's not really an epithet because
it's not like
he was using it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's what MLB is going to say.
He said it as a, I don't need to explain
how's
it.
MLB, but here's where I will say what I understand where MLB's coming from. MLB is like, you can't be saying that stuff in front of kids when you're at a baseball game.
The kids aren't that important, man.
Yeah.
Wow. The kids aren't that important.
Wow. No.
Like that. Listen.
It's promoting the game.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing. Here's my thing
that.
with children. They're gonna learn sooner or later. All right. They have to be prepared for some of these things in life.
I agree.
There's going to be conflict. There's going to be N-words. Especially if you're from certain places.
I don't disagree with any of that.
Like, it's going to happen.
The problem is you have to understand when you start having a kid, you're going to have to deal with other parents around who sometimes are a little bit more protective than maybe you would be on certain things, and they want to shield their kids from things until a certain time.
It's the world, man.
Nobody ever talks about what those certain times are, right? Like, nobody will ever say that, but they're going to do that. However, as a business, baseball doesn't want to look like they're promoting that in any kind of way. I'm not saying that they are or they aren't, but they don't want the appearance of that. So they're going to try to send a message to the part of that fan base that might feel that way, that may then say, I don't want to show up at this game because people are using this language. I understand what they're in terms of business.
Come on, man.
In terms, you have to understand where they're coming from in terms of business.
I mean, no, I get
you might
that.
not like it.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
it's business, man. That's all. That's why I looked at that was. It's a business move. I
All
understand
right.
where baseball's coming from. It's business.
But I'm just saying these kids
protecting their
these
interests.
kids got to learn sooner or later, man.
They're gonna learn sooner.
Like
or later.
we're the same.
We're
the same country that we don't even teach kids sex education.
I understand that.
You know what I'm saying? But they're going out and getting busy at 14.
The problem is
you want to give them that learning lesson in middle school.
But I'm glad you brought up that about sex education. What is the argument you generally hear from people who say they don't want sex education in schools? Right? The argument is, I don't want these people teaching my kids that, which is stupid.
But then teach your kids that.
Right. And the thing,
I didn't learn. I just kind of did it.
The thing that comes.
You don't want that to happen.
The things that comes with this,
even though it went fine.
Yeah, it could have went horribly wrong. The things that come with this is somebody's going to be like, I don't want Tim Anderson teaching my kids that.
Come on, man.
I mean, but you're fine with Tim Anderson teaching a kid how to hit a home run.
Right, exactly.
There lies the hypocrisy.
He's batting 422. He can teach my kid how to hit any day. I don't have a kid.
There lies.
But you know what I'm saying? Like,
there lies the hypocrisy. Look, man, baseball still. Here's the problem.
Yeah.
Baseball seems to be putting this question out for you because you said this on the Sports Walk.
Oh.
Baseball seems to be putting all this marketing into let the kids have fun, let the kids play, let's embrace the bat flip.
Very good ads.
Good at that. We are all in support of, right?
Yeah,
Even
if you do it.
But why do you think the culture isn't permeating down still into the broader baseball culture? The people who are actually on the field, because we're still seeing pitchers complain about dudes doing bat flips. And you know what I have a problem with? I have a problem that the retaliation for these unwritten rules is by the person who has the ball in their hand. Mm-hmm. But if the person with the bat in their hand comes out there and hits the pitcher, well, why is that wrong? Yeah. The pitcher can throw a 95 or plus mile per hour fastball at a person. They can't come back out and retaliate with their weapon.
And I saw some other people complaining that if we let this continue in terms of the bat flipping, then, you're going to have pitchers celebrating strikeouts and things like that, which I'd actually be fine with.
And
I'd be fine with that. That's why people like Jabba Chamberlain so much.
Yeah.
When he was hot for like a season.
But it already happens, right?
Like, I'm fine with,
like people
are saying, we're going to start seeing dances after celebration, after strikeouts and things like that. Like celebration dances. Like, fine. Okay. I'd be fine with that. Like, if you strike somebody out, go ahead.
Is anybody mad?
Do what you gotta do.
Has anybody been mad through the NBA playoffs when Damian Lillard is doing his Dame time, or you got Russell Westbrook rocking the baby?
Well, Dennis Schroeder clearly took exception to that. But as Damian Lillard pointed out, he waited until Game 3.
It doesn't matter. I also find it funny. Like, why can't we just enjoy it? Like, I enjoy the creativity.
Like, at the end of the day, we need to stop with a lot of these things, a lot of these notions that we've always had, and just break it down and be like, look, these are games that people get paid to play, but these are games at the end of the day. Why not let them have fun? That's it. We're doing too much policing of the rules and not letting these athletes sort of express themselves in their own way of creativity. You know, these athletes in some ways are creators also. You want creators to express themselves in whatever way it is possible. If they want to celebrate, if they get amped, there are some people that they don't celebrate. They give the ball back to the official, like LaDainian Tomlinson after touchdown.
And that's cool.
There are some people that they don't celebrate. They just keep it moving. They hit a basket, go right back on defense. But then there are other people, you see them, and they're like Marshall Henderson. They're barking. They're barking at the opposing crowd, trying to egg on the bench of the other team. And I'm fine with that. You need, just let it sort of happen. Now, you don't want fights to break out, although fighting is underrated in some instances. You don't want fights to break out.
People are fine with that in other sports, but that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing.
Did you see that Alex Ovechkin shot?
I did.
Against a 19-year-old?
Yo, but you know what's crazy? And we're talking hockey here again. You know what's crazy? He asked the kid if he wanted to do it.
I thought the kid asked him.
Nah, I thought he asked the kid. I thought he was like, "You sure you want to do this?"
Well, either way,
it doesn't
the
matter.
Kid did it.
It seems more likely that he would ask him because the kid is young. Kid was a rookie, right? He's
a
rookie.
No, I think it's more likely that he would do it because that the kid would do it because it's like when you're young and stupid, you'd be like, "Yo, you want to go?"
No, but I feel like if you're the older person, you'd want to check the younger person and be like, "You sure you want to do this?"
But if you're older, you can manage your testosterone more.
Do you want to see these hands? With somebody who's been experienced in doing this.
He did, and then he didn't.
And then he did it. He learned.
He knocked him out. He knocked him out like Terence Crawford almost knocked out Amir Khan.
Here's the thing: if I was Alex Ovechkin, I wouldn't feel bad for any of that. I'm like,
Me neither, especially since it's legal, as we were saying, but it's not legal in other sports.
It's not.
Which is interesting because, hold on. God forbid they let that happen in basketball or football.
No.
Holy shit.
No.
Woo.
No.
Oh, my God.
It would be, wow.
Oh my God!
I mean, look, we know.
Let Russell Westbrook and Donovan Mitchell. Hopefully, this doesn't happen. Let Russell Westbrook and Donovan Mitchell go at it in Utah and see what happens.
No, let Russell Westbrook go at it with a fan in Utah and see what happens. Yeah, that's I don't think
you know what I mean. Mitchell. Like, just let Cam Newton go at it with any past Von Miller.
It's not
like you know what I mean.
It would be the stuff that would be written and said is just
America would be insane.
Tiger Woods won his 5th.
Yeah, I have an issue about
green
this.
Jacket.
Not an issue. I'm not an issue.
Well, how do you have an issue?
Not
with
an
this?
issue. Not an issue. But I was.
You're not happy Tiger Woods won his 5th green jacket?
I don't really care. My thing was like I was just sort of fascinated where that. And this is what I texted you. I was like, this is the space where people decide to compartmentalize. I just find it interesting, not in any way that I'm leaning one side or the other.
Are they compartmentalizing that?
Yeah, because Tiger is such a great story.
It is. How's it not a great story?
He's come back from so much, even though a lot of it was self-inflicted. Then you have black people rooting for him for obvious reasons, even though he doesn't quite label himself as black and has never been seen with a black woman publicly.
I will address that.
You know what I mean?
I will gladly address that.
So I was looking at because one day we were talking about this because I was doing research one day and I was like, I just looked up Tiger Woods' girlfriends, the women that he's been seen with in public. All of them are white girls. All of them. And I was like, that's interesting to me. So then I looked up his what is he? And he apparently doesn't label himself as black or African American. He labels himself as
Cablination.
Yes.
Which is what he said. Now, here's my thing. I'm going to throw something at you that I thought about.
Yeah.
And this actually applies more to people in the black community, so I will say it. But we seem to, and I think there's a reason why you could juxtapose these two.
I'm just trying
athletes.
to, I'm totally from the outside, so I'm just trying to figure it out.
Do you have an issue with Serena Williams? Serena Williams
is issue?
Yes, here's where I'm going. Serena Williams is married to a white man, and here.
But now I see where you would say this is more for the black community because I'm kind of like.
And I'm not saying here. This
you know what I'm saying?
I will explain. And I'm not speaking for everybody in the black community, but I'll explain to you why I think that is. Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to be clear on a couple things. You should love whoever you want to love. I don't really give a damn. Yeah. I do not care.
Interracial,
we out
here. You know
I do not care. Everybody.
This is an interracial podcast.
I think the world should be better and people loving to love whoever they want to love. However, here's the difference between Serena and Tiger, right? That I'm going to make very clear.
Compton?
No.
Okay.
No. Nothing to do with that. Serena has always seemed, and this also includes Venus, has always seemed to embrace her blackness, her identity.
I was going to say, yeah.
Tiger, I think what happened when he made the Cablination comment, what I think annoyed a segment of black people that were rooting for him, and I'll get to why they're rooting, but I think you were kind of alluding to earlier.
Yeah, I'm just curious about
was the fact that it appeared that you should be able to say you're from mixed race or mixed culture, say who you are.
Yeah.
But he put Cablination, which was supposed to be Caucasian, black, and Asian. Last I knew...
Was that a real term or he made that up?
I never heard it till Tiger Woods said it.
That's interesting.
Tiger Woods' father, late father, black.
Yeah.
Mother, Asian.
Yeah.
Right? If he had said Blasian, I think more people would have been like, okay. Everybody's like, I don't know where the Caucasian comes in this, and it seems as though you might be rejecting your blackness. Right?
Yeah.
Now, I think that's what annoyed people in that terms. Now, why do people root for Tiger Woods who are black for the most part? Are most people rooting for Tiger Woods who are black? I think because he's a black dude who dominated in a very white space in golf.
That's what I think.
Hell yeah.
That's what I think.
I have.
Yeah.
He's also been great at it, right? It was nice to see somebody who was like, yo, I don't see anybody that looks like me.
A lot of people said he was the best athlete in the world at one point.
Right. Dude who's doing this, and he's doing it at the Masters, and he's killing, and he won by 12 strokes in 99 and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And despite the cabinet...
Oh, I failed to mention also that he's buddies with Trump. That's another thing.
I'll get to that in a second. Despite the Cablination part, right? I think once that statement was out there, I think for a lot of black people, we were like, Tiger's that person that's not embracing his culture in this way, right? Serena's never been that person.
Right.
But Tiger has
just
done
happened to end up with a white dude.
Right. So Tiger, I think for a lot of black folks looked at him and was like, okay, we kind of see where he's at and what he's doing, who he's been around, who he's associated himself with.
Yes.
We've kind of seen sort of those things and understood who Tiger Woods. So when you might say it's problematic that Tiger Woods is playing golf with Trump, I don't think most black people care because they look at Tigers like, yo, we know what Tiger is. We still root for him because we like the fact that he's can win in these spaces where you don't see us, and that matters.
That's such a weird situation to me.
It's not. It's not for me.
No, because it's like, it's literally choosing which part makes you feel better about the whole situation.
Yeah, but it's like
people are entitled to do.
But why can't I enjoy the part of him? Why can't I enjoy? I don't know his politics, though. That's the thing. Do we know Tiger's politics?
I don't think we do, but I think we have strong assumptions where they may lean. But those are assumptions, to be fair.
Because he played golf for Trump doesn't mean he necessarily rocks with Trump. However, would I be playing golf for Trump? No.
But those other things sort of, in terms of never being seen with a black woman, in terms of not really owning his blackness.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't know if you saw this, and I wanted to pull this up, and we didn't have the aux cord to play this, but you can look this up, people who are listening.
Could we get the aux cord?
If I find it, I will try to play this audio for everybody to hear. But I come across, and you might have seen this, I come across a video where Tiger Woods was interviewed, and this was Complex Sports. I want to give them credit that they had this video. Let me see if I can find this.
Yeah, I just find the whole Tiger Woods thing.
Now I'm feeling you haven't seen this video.
I don't know. Is it the one with him and his daughter?
No. He talks about he's like 13 or 14.
Tiger's 13 or 14.
Tiger's 13 or 14.
Okay, so we're talking about 1990. So we're talking about Tim Dog, F. Compton. We're talking about what else was out at that time? Tim Dog, F. Compton.
Now that
NWA.
Now that you have not, now I know that you have not seen this.
What does that mean?
Now you haven't seen or heard this makes me want to play this so you can actually hear it in real time as well too.
And get a genuine reaction. That's
hold on. I'm trying to find this.
Did you actually watch the match?
I meant to have this ready from before. I did. I watched the last round as much as I could of it.
Oh, man, I can't. I can't watch golf, man.
You know what? I am not able to find this right now.
You're gonna have to look. You're gonna have to find it at some other point. But yeah, Tiger Woods. Oh, Tiger was not born in '77.
Okay, nope, got it. No. I found it.
Cypress, California.
Except this doesn't. You know what? This doesn't have the exact. I don't know exactly where this clip is. But anyway, I'm gonna paraquote what he says about this. I'm actually gonna try to see if this is it at the end. Okay, so what happens is Tiger Woods is being interviewed by it's a guy appears to be an Australian reporter, and he asks Tiger Woods what would be the most important tournament for him to win. And Tiger Woods says, and I'm paraquoting this, he's like 13 or 14, he says the Masters.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy says, why? Why would the Masters be so important for you to win? He said, because of the way they've treated black people there. And obviously he's talking about the fact that blacks and then also women at the Masters had been excluded.
How old was he?
13.
So we're talking about 1988, 89.
And he says, for him as a black person,
a lot could happen in that time.
To win this would be important for him. So I think the question a lot of people would say is, yo, how did he go from there to talking about Cavlin Asian, right? Like, how?
Look at Candace Owens. It happens.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if a lot of people pay attention to her. How do you go from there to there? And I think I was having a conversation with somebody about this recently, and they were saying that when you're black like him and he's kind of ascended to this place and he's made this amount of money, that the people in your circle, your accountants, your lawyers, all these people around you maybe necessarily don't look like you anymore. And your worldview sort of changes sometimes where you think like, not that there are obviously good white people and bad white people, we're saying.
I hate that we have to differentiate that.
But I just want to be clear.
So the ones that know.
Right.
I feel
and it's just that. And so when things happen, you might be insulated from the actual racism that still does exist, right?
And brainwashing does happen.
Right.
Over time.
Now, what I also find interesting with Tiger was Tiger also had an incident in, I think this was the early 2000s, where I'm forgetting the woman on the Golf Channel said that he should be lynched. And yeah, you don't remember this happening? You might have been really young, so you don't remember this happening.
Huh.
So
it sounds vaguely familiar, but
so I'm trying to. Yeah, Golf Channel anchor Kelly Tillman, she was suspended for a lynching remark about Tiger Woods. And I remember this. The Golf Channel suspended her. But however, when Tiger was asked him, this is what happened. Nick Faldo and Tillman were discussing young players who would challenge the world's #1 player towards the end of this broadcast. And Faldo suggested that to take Tiger on, maybe they should just gang up on him for a while. And Tillman said, lynch him in a back alley. Obviously, I don't think I have to explain to our listeners and viewers.
Whoa.
Yes.
When was this?
This was... So it's actually not as early as I thought. 2008.
Where the hell was I? Damn.
Yeah, I remember this.
I mean, at that time, Lord knows what the hell I was doing. But.
Yeah. Anyway, so this occurs, and Tiger was asked about how he felt about it. Instead of Tiger being like, yo, this is extremely offensive. This should not be said to anyone. Language should not be used. He was like, no, I know she was just joking. She's my friend.
Oh.
Yeah.
20 years after the initial. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So...
I mean, it does happen, though. Like, people lose themselves all the time. We're seeing it now with social media, where we've talked about this extensively on this podcast, where people just lose themselves entirely just to get retweets or likes. There are a lot of people who are trying to act like they're a part of causes that they're not actually a part of. There are a lot of people who are just trying to attach themselves to certain things, and then there are other people who just completely lose themselves entirely. Like, it just happens.
That was disappointing for me when he did that, because
I don't know if Tiger's completely lost himself. I don't know him.
I don't know.
What I mean? All indications to me seem like he's one of those type of black dudes.
Here's the
you know
thing,
what I'm saying?
But I still like seeing him win it. I still like seeing him win in the spaces that he's winning.
Yeah.
And I think when you're from people who've been shut out of those spaces,
yeah,
that I can understand that. I think both things can exist. You can be disappointed in one thing that you're saying, but you can also enjoy seeing him win in the spaces that he's winning. Yeah. All right, we're out of time. We got to wrap it up. So
we got to get
numbers, which I'm very excited for this episode.
77. Luka Doncic.
That's it.
All right, cool.
There's no need for any other candidates. Luka Doncic.
Shout out to Anson Carter, honorable mention.
Yes, honorable mention, Anson Carter. Luka Doncic, you should be the rookie of the year. I told you so, people.
Yes.
I told you so.
In 2017.
Yes,
told you so.
Told you so. All right, another good episode. That is it for this episode of AHTT Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to us. Please leave us a rating, the best rating you possibly can. Also, be sure to support us on Patreon and the other stuff we have coming up for Brian Fonseca. T-Public. Buy our merch and stuff. We have some more great stuff coming up. That's it for this episode for Brian Fonseca. I'm Dexter. Until next time, y'all. Peace.